Next up, we have EXXE Group. EXXE Group Inc., a diversified company focusing on many sectors from real estate to fintech, which trades over the counter under the symbol AXXA. And speaking on behalf of EXXE Group is Dave Duarte. Welcome, Dave.
Thank you. Great to be here.
All right. Well, Dave, if you're ready to go, take it away.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you for joining us today. I'm Dave Duarte. Most of y'all do not know me, but I will be filling in for Dr. Nazmiev, who's still in Europe on business right now. But I've been with EXXE Group about a year now, and after speaking with Boris and Dr. Nazmiev and Anna and the team and being able to interact with everybody, I caught the AXXA vision, and it was exciting to learn how I could be a part of things over the last little while here. So I will walk us through things here, and then we'll take questions at the end. So who is EXXE Group? Well, we are a fintech company with interests that include real estate, artificial intelligence, e-commerce, crypto and Bitcoin trading, medical supplies, telemedicine, hemp, and a diverse range of agribusiness interests like processing, storage, trading, and transportation. But simply, we touch the things that will impact your daily economy. Next slide. So to increase your wealth in a global pandemic, how many investments do you need? Next slide. Well, just one. EXXE Group's diversification strategy is built around the layers of our lives. Real estate and agriculture form a solid base of consistent revenue and organic growth over time, while our fintech and e-commerce and digital and diversified tech pave the way for exponential growth in disruptive industries. Next slide. This security of diversification really extends around the globe. We've completed deals in 10 countries on 3 continents, with a balance sheet exceeding 206 million and over 27 million in trailing 12-month revenues. Next slide. So this is the strength of EXXE Group, capturing opportunities as the world changes. So what are some of the trends that we're seeing now? We see revenues continuing to rise across the various business segments, which reduces the risk of a single sector failure. We also see crypto, real estate, and agriculture as hedges for inflation in our present and our post-pandemic world. Next slide. The focus for each acquisition we make keeps people at our core. And this is what really drew me to the company at first, was what is relevant to your personal ecosystem and what assets would impact that and then drive growth. Next slide. So this last year has only continued to prove that our people-centric growth strategy helps everyone win. So like our agro business, commodity prices have been rising for the last 7 months, and we expect them to keep rising into 2022, especially as China continues to import huge amounts of commodities like corn and wheat. And we've seen food price inflation, in part driven by, I guess, large increases in the global monetary base, and that looks to continue unabated. In perfect harmony, however, our end-to-end agribusiness segment has been one of the strongest revenue components over the past 2 quarters for AXXA. Next slide, please. And as governments continue debasing fiat currencies, it's no surprise that people turn to alternative asset classes. Last year, EXXE Group retooled its UK-based financial services company 1 Mile as a dedicated Bitcoin and cryptocurrency arbitrageur. And this is currently facing towards professional traders at the moment. Next slide. EXXE Group sees cryptocurrency as the future, and data trends agree as the acceptance of crypto continues into the mainstream of our everyday lives. And what's more timely than today, a new high for Bitcoin? Our posture towards strategic acquisitions guides us like never before. Next slide. Like our Swiss-based medical supply company, Meditech. So as the med supply bottlenecks from COVID-19 really squeezed tighter last year, our acquisition actively served the markets that we work in with critical consumable medical supplies. Not only has this Swiss market performed very well, but Meditech is on track to achieve the 2021 targets previously stated of 3.6 million revenue and 1.2 million EBITDA. Next slide. So EXXE Group is proud to share our story from over the last 4 years with dozens of acquisitions that benefit our most important asset, our shareholders. Yep, perfect. Our annual, from a revenue perspective, our annual revenue growth speaks for itself, from 2.1 million to 15.3 to the 30.8 million target for fiscal 21. Next slide, please. The exponential growth in our revenue has, of course, been driven by our consistent acquisitions and the organic growth of many of those assets. And we see this trend continuing towards our target for fiscal 2021. Next slide. So we at EXXE Group are excited to share this amazing growth story with our shareholders. And really, you guys are the ones that are our most important asset to help us grow and accomplish what we're building here at EXXE Group. So we'll now take a couple of questions, and I'm happy to share more about my story as well.
All right. We do have some questions. Here we go. All right. Excuse me, let me turn my video on. Do you have any plans or hopes to work with ADA Coin, Cardano in the crypto space? And is this third generation crypto even on your radar?
You know, I'll bring in Boris to speak more on this.
Boris, you are now unmuted. Please feel free to speak.
Let's see.
Yep, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Hello, everyone. What was the question? I missed the question, actually, while I was trying to get on.
Okay. Hi, Boris. The question is, do you have any plans or hopes to work with Cardano, ADA Coin in the crypto space? And is this third generation crypto even on your radar?
Boris, did you hear that question?
Yes, so we don't, we took over the company that specializes in exchanges with Bitcoin that's been around for actually a few years now. So they are one of the pioneers, and they have an extended network of clients that's been working with the company for a while, which is very important in the crypto space because it's a verified technology, right? And we've been going through the process of rebranding it into 1 mile, re-registering, reconnecting with exchanges. And today it's open only for professional network. It's a UK-based company. In terms of the opportunities to grow in the space, obviously it's a future, and there is multiple potential relationships that we can entertain. But even with what we have today and the projections that we have based on our press releases, it's a great opportunity. Again, we open for discussions, but we don't necessarily follow the crypto per se, or whether they are the next thing or not. That's not our question. We pick up the technologies that we feel will be beneficial for the company, for the revenues, for the appreciation of shareholder value. And we've been very dynamic with that. And so obviously we open, we can entertain, but that's not not necessarily on immediate agenda.
Okay, thank you so much. We do have another crypto question about, tell us about your crypto exchange purchase.
Right. So that's basically what I just was referring to. We took over the company. It's got great technologies. It's not just the software. It's also a team of Ph.D. engineers who developed multiple technologies in fintech space, and we would see that over the next year or two, the investors will see where the company is going with that, and it's currently operational. It's got a history, so typically it's part of our strategy. So we don't just take, even though that we acquired a venture capital arm with multiple startups, we don't particularly, if I can call it, babysit the newer startup technology. We look at it as a part of another avenue or segment where we want to be as a company. And once we there's some noise in the background. I'm wondering what it is, and I apologize. It's and the video is not working. Is that anything we can fix?
Well, if maybe on the back end, but Boris, if you want to mute your call, and then Dave, can you explain to the listeners who Boris is?
Yeah, so there is no reason to mute the call. So I am the chief admin officer of the company. I'm also a managing director of acquisitions. So I can discuss the vision of the company, whatever the questions might be, so welcome to view the questions and respond to investors.
Okay, Boris, we do have a few more questions. It seems like that feedback has stopped. So a few more questions. When do you plan on releasing upcoming financials?
Yeah, so the financials are due this week. We have multiple subsidiaries, and they have their own graphics of when the financials are typically ready. But it seems like we have most of it that we communicated over the Twitter, and we stay very close to our investor community to explain them where we are. So we are very excited about it. But so I'm assuming that it's planned to be out this week. Obviously, it's a teamwork to make sure that it's done.
Okay, thank you. Next question is, what are your plans for uplisting?
Right. So as we started working with the with a firm that was preparing us for audits, we realized that first of all, having a couple dozen of subsidiaries that were acquired in a pretty short period of time of this 3 years, where the company basically transformed itself from just pure software consultancy company into the business that holds multiple classes of assets, and it's diversified in multiple regions. So that was one of our goals, to be diversified, where we ended up international, different classes of assets and different segments that we felt would have the potential of high upside and also be recession proof. So as we've been growing, and we outlined, so some of these targets that we've been acquiring, they were sort of, the deals were incubated for the past few years. So it's not necessarily a new acquisitions. And we have a pretty strong pipeline of acquisitions. We dynamically adapt to the economic environment where we see where there is the biggest potential, where we see where there is more need for the portfolio to grow. Specifically, as we start as a digital-first software development company, transformed it into real estate, where we are covering multiple sectors that have been excellent, surprisingly, in this COVID environment. And then we moved towards multiple technologies that some of them have a huge upside, such as you can imagine, having a chance to be part of whether it's a VC portfolio and some newer technologies that we are very excited about, or some technologies that are in e-commerce space that's been around for a few years and just needed a boost to a little bit to grow them. And we've been super successful with some of them, reaching some of the technologies reached 30% growth quarter to quarter, and even 30-40% profit margins. We acquired selected group of assets, and these assets moving forward, obviously I can touch other assets that we've been acquiring and the reasons for that, but having this diversified portfolio and a strong pipeline, we realize that it's always a sacrifice. Either we're going to stop aggressive acquisitions in order to to come to a full stop, finish with the audits, and not add new companies to the portfolio, or we're going to continue doing it, continue working with a firm that's actually they were originally planned to be our auditors, but then eventually we realized that we don't want them to be auditing us. We want them to be working on our books, to be helping us to prepare for the audits, and then we will be auditing with another firm. So that's basically how it went, and that's where our position is. So uplisting requires audits. We think that our strategy of consistent growth, quarter to quarter, showing great results, adding excellent new segments that could have been basically reflection of today's time, such as we got into healthcare and the telemedicine and medical supplies. Actually, specifically because dealing in general in commodities market, it seems like it was a very good play, and we see amazing results that we're going to be reporting to investors on each of these categories. So that's where we basically came to the compromise that we will continue going towards being audited, because obviously as we picking up the size, we need to make sure that all of our assets in the basket are audited and that we can uplist. But again, it's not necessarily the super top priority, because the top priority is continuously consolidating new assets, quality assets, adding to the portfolio whatever we feel are the missing components to make this perfect product for us as a company and for the investors. Hello?
All right. I think that did answer quite a few. I'm reading them in order, the questions.
Right, right.
So when is the launch date, and do you have a website now for it?
Which is you referring to?
Well, this is from Juan Carlos. When is the launch date? Is there a website for, I'm assuming this is for EXXE.
Okay, so so interestingly enough, again, so we've gone through multiple revisions of the of our website, the new website, because we like as you can imagine, having dealing with multiple areas, some of them synergistic to each other. We had to make sure that we can simplify presentation of the company for the investors so that they can easily see and understand what our vision is, where we're going, and what are the assets of the portfolios with the values, with whatever we are trying to do. And so we went actually this year through the close to a dozen of revisions from the layouts to whatever it is, because we obviously the focus is on building the business, and secondary is to, I guess, present it to the investor in the best possible way. And I can tell you that it's coming along very well. Now we settled for finally for the vision that the whole team likes, and the whole team think that it's excellent in terms of how investors would view it. In terms of the dates of when it's going to be released, I will just keep it till the time when we launch it, and hopefully we'll get the feedback from investors that it was worth waiting for.
A few more questions. When will we see revenue from the crypto exchange in your financials?
Right. Well, again, so we have an excellent assets. We see the Bitcoin exchange as a one of our core assets moving forward into the future. Our existing portfolio of assets has been generating excellent results, and as we going through consolidations, testing, compliance, and all of whatever is needed, even though it's out of the it's international, it's UK-based company, but as we were transferring it from the previous name and the previous owners to our name, and we had to go through the certification process with whatever the counterparts are, such as again exchange, and so as it's coming along, we obviously will be seeing this year. It's been reported in our press releases that we plan to we have a plan, a conservative plan actually, in terms of what the revenue is going to be from this asset, but even with these conservative numbers, it's going to become significant part of the business what we envision in the future our growth might be growth, and as well as as well as other assets that are not less important. Today, we have a substantial, again, real estate portfolio. Like I mentioned to you, it sustained all these changes in the environment, because I will give you an example. We have a storage facility in Switzerland that's now full of clients, and we only looking to expand now, because obviously as people downsizing with the office spaces, they bring in us the goods for storage, right? If you take the we have a development projects that's on plan. We have the that's in high demand. When we were acquiring this undervalued distressed asset, it was already a line of people who wanted to live in that, and now it's even bigger. We have the flagship Trump properties that's been surprisingly doing extremely well due to the microclimate where this particular property is, the proximity to the United Nations, and the quality of tenants. Maybe somebody would ask for an adjustment over $1,000 for a 16,000 per month rent, for example, but that wouldn't be impacting us significantly on the bigger picture when we're dealing with this. So that's on the real estate end. So it's going to continue. We have beautiful assets that are lined up for the future, as well as currently. Again, this why am I bringing the real estate? Because again, for everything that we have in the portfolio has its own logic. Real estate is very easy understood assets. So if you get it right in a way where it happened to be that we were not in the office space segment that suffered so much, and we were in a different segment that were excellent. So that made our diversification model work and prove itself, right? Mm-hmm. If you take the agriculture business, where we have the whole supply chain, it's a similar type of situation, very logical. We've been monitoring agriculture for the past few years, where we felt that there might be some shortages, and we've been, by foreseeing it, we incubated deals, got into deals for the past few years. We were monitoring, came in at the right time, right where before the pickup in the commodity prices started happening, and there is a huge opportunity to grow there. And as well as in obviously we were originally software consultancy and financial technologies company. When we acquired the first Joseph Cohen company, he's been the longest with us, and everybody who joins us become part of the family. That's what EXXE is about.
Well, and Boris, that actually reminds me of one of the first times that you and I spoke, as you described, what is this company, is almost in terms of a mini economy, or baking a cake, right? There's all the different ingredients, all the things, different aspects of this thing coming together that create the whole, and each one has its own unique part. And I think we've really seen that over the course of starting with the real estate and into the various business segments and things that we've been able to, as you just said, very timely acquisitions to get ahead of the curve on the crypto front, healthcare, telemedicine, the various segments and places where we're at, and everything works together. Even if at sometimes it may not look to investors like everything is coming together, there is the master plan to bring it together, called EXXE Group.
Beautifully said. Thank you. Thank you, Dave.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. This was a fantastic presentation, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing all your updates in the future.
Thank you, Anna.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay.